Good afternoon and welcome to the September-ish edition of QB Talks, QuickBooks Desktop 2023, a first look with Laura Madeira. My name is Gary Dehart and I'm the publisher of Insightful Accountant and host of today's event. Murph will be joining us in the background. I have to upgrade him to a panelist. We had some technical difficulties, but he'll be joining us in the background and we'll be answering questions as Laura's going through her presentation. And then so you can post your questions in the Q&A panel. Couple of housekeeping notes. This webinar does not qualify for CPE. We will be posting the recording to our YouTube channel, and you will receive a link to the channel in the follow-up email, which you will receive tomorrow. I'll also post that link in the chat window, along with a copy of the presentation deck once Laura takes over the presentation. And for those of you who don't know Laura, she is basically the queen of QuickBooks Desktop, and her pedigree is long. The number of things that she has done and time in the market, and the number of people that she's taught on things beyond QuickBooks Desktop, I think is I don't think anybody can measure it. So she might go a little bit deeper into her bio, but she does have a lot to cover. So that's Laura, and Laura, we certainly appreciate you being here. She is going to be off screen, as am I. If you don't know, Laura's in the middle of a move, and so she said that the lighting wasn't quite right for her to be on screen. So before I turn it over to her, I do want to say thanks to our sponsor, Rewind. Rewind Backups protects the critical data which runs your firm and your clients' businesses. Online accounting software products don't automatically save your transactions and files if they're deleted. Rewind Backups is the undo button for your online accounting software, automatically saving and restoring the latest version of your QuickBooks. As of September 2022, that would be this month, Rewind Backups are available for QuickBooks Online, Shopify, Shopify Plus, GitHub, Confluence, Jiro, Trello, Microsoft 365, and BigCommerce, with a dozen other platforms currently in beta and soon to hit the market. I do have a short demo that I will put into the chat as well, rather than just trying to play it here. I don't think that would play off very well. So we do have a quick poll question for you before I turn this over completely to Laura. It's a multi-part, so if you could just quickly answer these poll questions, and then we will we'll let Laura take over and do what she does best. Very good. I'm going to go ahead and close that out. Laura, it is all yours. Thank you so much for joining us and for taking time out of your what must be a crazy schedule right now. But certainly appreciate you taking this time, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gary. Murph, thanks so much for being there behind the scenes. Much smarter than me. You guys will get great answers from him, so do fill up that Q&A. It's a pleasure to be here. We are moving across country. We're going from the Dallas, Texas area. We are now in the northern middle area of Florida, moving into the new home tomorrow. So let me just get this going here. Did a great job of showing all the good things about me. One thing I can say is with years comes wisdom. But I always learn something new, so there'll be something new that we learn. This is QuickBooks Accountant Desktop 2023, and I hope that if you are not currently a QuickBooks ProAdvisor, that you look at the program benefits. A lot of what you can do conveniently with QuickBooks Desktop clients come as a result of being part of that very special QuickBooks ProAdvisor program. In 2023, QuickBooks Desktop has seen some really nice improvements, and they're broken out into these three groupings where we can offer the business owner a more clear line of sight into their business and their decision making. Many of the features advance enhanced control and decision making and improved efficiency, and that's what we like to do in QuickBooks Desktop, is improve the business owner's efficiency. Today, upon completion, you should be able to recognize the improved and new features that are available with each of these editions. Desktop Plus, Pro Plus, that is, Accountant Plus, Enterprise, Enterprise Accountant, and we do have a small section for those who use the Desktop Mac Plus, all for 2023. I never thought I'd say that year, but boy, we're here now. Just a reminder that QuickBooks Desktop Plus 2023 is a renewable one-year subscription offering. You get the benefits of having the latest version, improved customer support, time-saving new features are delivered constantly, actually, like all during the year. QuickBooks Desktop mobile app becomes more and more important as we go into 2023. But do remember, this entire product lineup is a one-year renewing subscription offering. If you've been around QuickBooks Desktop for years, it used to be one version would last 3 years, but now it is a recurring every year subscription. Something else that's just as important this year as it was last year and is going to become more and more important, please note that many of the features that I'll discuss today do require that you, the administrator for the company file, as well as the users for the company file, each and every one should have an Intuit account. It is a requirement for some of these features to work, and I will point that out. Intercompany transactions, mileage tracking, and more will not work successfully if you have not completed the steps in setting up an Intuit account. You can follow that YouTube link there. You can see a video and more about setting up the Intuit account for your file if it's not already set up. Probably already set up. All right, let's jump right into one of the first features. QuickBooks has now introduced a new cash flow hub. The hub will help companies monitor inflows and outflows from a single dashboard. Previous versions of QuickBooks required the user to print multiple reports to compare similar information. Now we can get the information more efficiently. Easy access points to additional reports and related transactions. And users can choose which accounts to display in the cash flow hub. It is not a predictor, but it is a tool that will show you where you are based on transactions that are currently in your QuickBooks file. I also mentioned mileage tracker. Efficiently start and end trip locations. Right now, only available on Apple's mobile platform, but I'm certain, well, I can't say I'm certain, but given how much they put into the desktop app on the Android, that we will see that at some point. But right now, only the Apple mobile platform. Total miles are automatically calculated. The app will automatically update using standard mileage rates issued by the IRS. Now, employees can also add trips directly into the QuickBooks Desktop program for approval. Use that information to pass the cost onto the customer's invoice and or to reimburse the employee. Another improvement, well, it's one of a couple favorites of mine, as I download our own banking and credit card transactions daily. And what a time saver this is going to be. For banking, some transactions I just have downloaded to match them. For credit cards, it's a real time saver. New for QuickBooks Desktop Plus 2023 is improved security behind the scenes. I'm even already seeing this message in my own downloads. More security and the ability to set the download to run automatically. Gosh, that's a really nice feature. Another improvement from last year, I find when I work with new QuickBooks users, they are unsure how to invoice and collect money, such as a deposit from their clients. How many times I've seen customers or users of QuickBooks create an invoice for inventory that doesn't exist purely for the purpose of obtaining a deposit. Well, QuickBooks has improved this process by providing a link that you can email, text, through Slack, etc., any communication method to your clients when the need arises. Now, when the money arrives, it will increase your funds in the bank and will show a credit for that customer's accounts receivable account. Generally, this works fine if the deposit received isn't held too long and is applied to the final invoice. For this functionality, you must have a current QuickBooks Payments account, and that's an account that will allow you to collect payment by e-check or credit card through QuickBooks. We have had a QuickBooks payment account, I don't know how many years, but probably 20, 25 years. Definitely the way to go. So let me jump into QuickBooks quickly and let's look at these last features that I just discussed. I failed to say up to this point, each of these features are available in all the versions of QuickBooks Desktop. And by that, I mean Pro Plus, Premier Plus, Accountant Plus, and all editions of Enterprise. So everything I've shown so far works for all of them.
Hey, Laura, are you talking?
I'm sorry, I
Oh,
am talking. My
yeah, we
apologies.
lost you. Yeah, we lost you a little while ago.
Okay, so sorry. Jump in like that again. So
Yeah,
let me
sorry.
just go back up to the top here. So this is the first feature. You maybe lost the slides. Did you lose the slides or just this? Well, we'll just talk about the feature here. This is one of the new features. It's the Cash Flow Hub, and it offers the ability to view whatever accounts, all accounts or whatever accounts. It's like a dashboard, and you can manage the accounts here. You also can look at the cash flow trend, and you can click on any point to see the in on that day and the money out on that day. One of the things I mentioned, this cash flow hub is a predictor only based on current transactions in QuickBooks with due dates. So some of us would like to be able to predict 6 months away, 9 months away, a year away. This is not a tool for that. But I don't know, in this market, I'm not so sure that would be a convenient thing to do anyway. But you can see when you click on something, you can actually view particular reports. They've made it quite handy. I don't doubt they'll even improve what you see here. And if I drop to the bottom, here's the money in. I don't have any overdue invoices, but if I did, I could send a reminder. And I do have an open invoice. And again, I can view reports right from the dashboard. On the money out, do I have any overdue bills? Do I want to see paid bills and take a look at the paid bills? I can view those. And notice that I am able, for any of these widgets, I'm able to specify the period of time that I want to look at. I think for business owners who don't get in the data every day, this might be a really good way to look at information in one place without running multiple reports. But that is the Cash Flow Hub released with 2023. Next, let's talk about the mileage tracker. So if I go back into the company, and I go down to track vehicle miles. Now, again, I mentioned this works with the Apple mobile device, and I can't tell you when or if they're coming out with Android, but I can only surmise they're going to come out with an Android as well. There are all the other features that are available are also available in the Android. So the track mileage is going through that Intuit account, so it's able to take data from the mobile device and put it up inside of the QuickBooks Desktop program automatically for you. You can view reports, and you can see those reports by vehicle, summary, detail, by job, or by job detail. You can manage the vehicles and the mileage rates. I don't have anything pending, but I did do a transaction here, and you can see that I have entered some transactions, and these could be entered directly into the QuickBooks product. So you could quickly do something right here and get your information, or you can do it from a mobile device. An Apple mobile device at this time will also send this information over. And what are you doing with it? Well, you can see, I get my little arrow up, right below my arrow is a billable and a reimbursable check mark. So those are optional, but when it's a billable item, it's very easy to go ahead and say, create an invoice. And let me just pick that customer, and I can add time and costs. Forget to turn all those warnings off. And there is that particular mileage item. So see how convenient it is for your employees or your clients' employees that are out in the field that are tracking their time to jobs, how easy it is to put that mileage expense, if that's the agreement, to pass that back on to the client. So very easy there. Let's go to the next one, banking connection. So under banking, bank feeds. Now, I've been using bank feeds since they were first introduced. I won't tell you because it will give away my age, but let's just say for a very long time. If you or your clients, if you're an accounting professional here, are not currently using bank feeds, I strongly suggest you do. This year, they have improved the encryption security in the background. Murph will probably know a whole lot more about that, but you can see the participating financial institutions here, and you can set one up. So for example, if I banked at Bank of America and I wanted to set up a bank feed, I would click on that, I would type Bank of America, and it would make me put in my online credentials in order to set up that download. But there are messages about the encryption. During my next writing assignments, when I do a little bit more writing for Intuit, I'll know more about exactly what that encryption is. But I'm currently getting messages that Chase and Bank of America have improved their encryption and made some changes, and you can click here and read more. I just haven't had time to read more. Now, I know there's questions. I use a local bank. In the past, it wouldn't be offered. The best thing you can do is just simply go to participating financial institutions, and you will see who participates. Sometimes your bank may charge a fee for it. I'm a longtime user of my bank, so they don't pass the cost on to me. It's a benefit, but it could be different for different banks. But I download every day. I teach every client how to download and match their banking, how to download their credit cards. But in general, the feature in 2023 is the connection has been improved with improved security. So you IT buffs out there, hopefully that means a little bit more to you. And Murph, it means I'm sure a whole lot more to Murph than it does to me just yet. The next feature is payment links. I'm going to go back to the screenshot on that because I can't show that in a file without payments. But this is what it looks like today when you go and you send a payment link. So I'm sending a request to replenish a retainer for $17.50 to Manage Right Construction. And that company will get either however I choose to send it, through a text, through an email. It'll give me a link, and I can put that anywhere I communicate with the client. And then I can choose whether the client pays me by credit card or by bank transfer. I can turn off cards entirely if I don't want that fee, and I can just do bank transfer as a small fee. I think it's a $3 fee per check, but you do have to have an active QuickBooks payments account. I encourage you to look for information on the website, or if you haven't opened up a QuickBooks payments account and you want more details from us, you can reach out to me as well. All right, let's go on here. So over COVID, we all got used to this touchless thought, right? I mean, I'm so glad we're over the really ultimate touchless, but if you want to accept contactless payments from multiple payment methods, they now have a new node card reader that's shown here in these images. I collect online and my clients put their credit card details in themselves, so I never really see it, but let's just say you're selling your product or services at a market. You could take this, collect the payment, it will go back into your QuickBooks file and create the necessary record keeping for the payment that's received. But you do need to have an active QuickBooks payments account and fees do apply. Also, more again, like this Intuit account where the data is being uploaded and downloaded is becoming more and more important. Here, Equifax verification is offering a direct connection for those QuickBooks administrators that want to, you see it's a company preference, want to enable it. Through Equifax, they can automate the income and employment verification service that's powered by the work number from Equifax. Now, the information is verified through the secure channels of Equifax, so it's something that Equifax is providing. It does require an active QuickBooks Desktop payroll subscription. There are a few choices of what type of payroll subscription is offered, but you do have to have a QuickBooks Desktop payroll subscription active in order for employees to be able to use this fast, efficient approval for loans. Hopefully they get approved, right? Also, Intuit Desktop is now integrating 401k and it's offered by Guideline. You know, I'm a small business owner and I understand that setting up 401ks is tricky. It's for the small business owner, it may be difficult. This is now going to make it a total possibility for the QuickBooks company that's small but growing. It's fully integrated with QuickBooks Desktop. There are multiple plan options that offer the employee a choice that works for the employee. And when payroll is processed in QuickBooks, it takes care of any 401k deductions and any contributions automatically. This particular feature only works when you or your clients have an assisted payroll subscription. So I mentioned there's more than one type of payroll subscription. The one that works with the 401k offering is assisted payroll. So make sure they have the assisted payroll subscription. All right, now we're jumping into Enterprise. So we went through the features for Pro Plus, Premier Plus, and Accountant Plus, and then all of the additions of Enterprise. Up till now, every feature that you saw is included. A couple of them require an Intuit account. There's no fee for that. And a few required a QuickBooks Payments account and also required a particular payroll subscription, the assisted. And I am looking at some of the questions here. I happen to have a file in 2021 that is working with the banking download encryption. So I think if I'm going to say this generally, if QuickBooks is still servicing your version of QuickBooks, if you have one in the 3-year program, it's still being serviced, many of these features will work with that. Some of them won't, but any payroll or payments required functionality, I believe if you've got payments and payroll and you're in an older version that's not part of the Plus program, these particular features will work. Now this feature and the new ones I'm about to talk about, the intercompany transactions, I have to say it's one of my favorites. And I don't think I even put it on a list of a wish list because I thought it would never happen. So I'm going to say it's my favorite, and here's why. I work with a lot of construction companies and a lot of real estate entities. And while I know there's lots of other businesses out there, I'll just share my own experience. There is often a holding company, and then there are related subsidiary companies that the holding company pays the bills for the subsidiary companies. So really excited about this particular functionality. Again, you're going to have to create a relationship with an Intuit account. So it is going to be necessary to have QuickBooks understand that two files are connected. So the one client of mine, my gosh, they have a holding company, and I don't know, I lost count, maybe 300. They have a room full of people, but 300 or so subsidiary files. So I don't know if there's some limit, but I do know that you have to create the relationship, and you do that by going to the company menu, intercompany, in any file that needs to be related. And that company will get an email so that if company A is going to pay the bills for company B, company A has to send the request through the QuickBooks process here to company B, and company B has to approve it. Once it's approved, then this is what goes on. Once the relationship between the QuickBooks Desktop files are approved, company A can create a bill or a check. Now, let me save you some time. So I know sometimes we tend to do other things in these webinars, but if you're listening, stop here for just a second, because if you're helping clients with QuickBooks 23, and we're in enterprise only because that's where intercompany is, when company A is ready to create a bill or a check that company B needs to put on the books, the first thing they need to do is click the intercompany transaction button, and I'll show you that. If you don't, the process won't work. So we're going to look at that in a moment. Now, company A will be making the payment, and that will be a debit, a due from in their books. So it's going to be a debit transaction and a due from. And then company B will approve and assign the proper expense account or balance sheet account, whatever it might be, in their books. So each company needs to have a due to and due from, and there should be in the proper place. I didn't test it, but I would expect you can only accept an other current asset or an other current liability. We also have, and I'm going to demonstrate that in just a moment. We also have a new purchase order and bill workflow approvals. Approvals were rolled out, I think, last year, and they've improved by offering purchase order and bill workflow approvals. Again, we are just in enterprise, and actually, I need to be careful here. It's Platinum and Diamond Enterprise, as well as Enterprise Accountant. The accounting is important here because you know that PO is non-posting. So the PO itself isn't going to be recorded until it's gone through the workflow. So I am going to stop here for a second. I'm going to go into QuickBooks, and we're going to look at intercompany transactions before I get too deep into the PO process. So intercompany transactions require a setup by the administrator, and you're going to come here to the company intercompany transactions. I've already set it up, but I'll go ahead and launch it. I think we have time here, and sometimes it takes a second or two to launch. So the data, I'm not really good at explaining the IT stuff. I should have had Murph put the words in my mouth, but the Intuit account is really important here because information goes through that Intuit account. So here is where you would see if there were relationships. So imagine my holding company there in the Dallas area that's got some 300 real estate companies. There might be a whole bunch, pending listing here once they start the process. I'm just going to go over here to approved. Oh, I guess not. So do I have the right company? Let me see. I am going to go to, I'm going to actually open a different file. So let's quickly open this file here. And you can see how important it is that you know the relationship between the companies. I had to work through a couple of different QuickBooks Desktop sample companies to get this to work. A little tricky at first. And so first thing in intercompany, if I were to look at the chart of accounts, see how I've got a due from Carl's computer shop. And then if I go down into the current liabilities, I've got a due to Carl's computer shop. During the setup, you're actually prompted to name the account or accounts that you're going to be reporting to. So the tool back up here, and I'm logged in as the intercompany, and let's see if I can make this work. See, I told you the Intuit account is really important. It plays, oh, look at that. It plays a really important point in the control and security of this. So you're seeing it firsthand. Oh, I fear the day I lose my phone. Something's probably happened to somebody at some point. So in order to use intercompany transactions, you need to sign in. I've already connected the two files. So I'm only surmising that after a time or two, you have to log back in and create that connection again, or at least see that connection. And so you can see I clicked on approved. I had already gone through the experience of approving, so it's here. But if I had others that were pending, rejected, or sent for approval, that's how that would work. So we're going to say the advanced inventory file is my company A. And let's go ahead and enter a bill. So I'm going to go ahead and enter a bill. Now, again, if you're multitasking, stop for just a second, because if intercompany is important for you, then you want to watch this. The first thing you need to do to make a transaction eligible for intercompany is not to start entering the data. Don't start the data. Immediately click up here in the top right on the menu bar, the main menu bar. We click intercompany transactions. Now, watch the bottom. You know, we have the expenses tab and the items tab. Watch what changes once I click intercompany transactions. Notice that you can only add one line item in an intercompany transaction. Now, I'm just the messenger. Don't go yelling at me. So someone said they lost audio again. I'm hoping some of you are hearing, and maybe William Barnes just lost it, but do let me know in chat if nobody can hear. It looks like it's working fine for me.
Yeah, I can hear you, Laura.
Thank you so much. Oh, my kids say all the time, Mom, stop talking. I guess it would work for them. So notice now that we have a very different view down here. There's no expense tab, no items tab. Let's just pick, who do we want to? Let's go to Franz Fasteners. And we'll just put my reference number in. And then if I had multiple companies here, I would be able to pick from the companies, but they're only allowing a single company per transaction. And I only have one company that's grouped together. All right, we'll just go ahead and take that amount, and we can put our memo here if we wanted to. Oh, let's just see, fasteners. And then I am going to save and close. So notice it says intercompany transaction not sent. So I'm going to save and close. Oh, I did a quantity. Let's just do a recalculate. Now we will match. I don't really care what the amount is. So I'm going to save and close. That's for Carl's. So now if I go back into my company, and I'm going to go back into my intercompany transactions. I'm sorry, William, that you're not able to hear. It will be recorded, so you could jump back in. And I think on the closed captions, I don't know if they can add those after the fact, but let's just see. So transactions. So I'm still in company A. And I would have expected, oh, there we go, because it's sent for approval. So there's the bill that's been sent for the approval. Let's just take a quick look at my P&L. This audience sometimes likes to see that. Notice how we entered a bill, but there's absolutely no accounting for it in this month to date, not a single accounting for it yet, because, well, we went to the balance sheet as well. So let's take a look at that. Let's go back down to the balance sheet. And this happens to be the original 3250. It doesn't have the other bill in there that I've created for that, what, 400 something and change. So just so you know, company A has absolutely no accounting for that until it is approved by the other company. So now what I'm going to do, so we've created a bill in company A. We're going to go ahead and we're going to open up the related company. We're going to go right here, and this is Carl's Computer. Didn't have much time to do fancy names. You guys know when I teach, I like fancy names with my own data, but we didn't have time. But let's take a look at this. So I'm going to go ahead and close all this extra stuff. So doesn't matter if I'm in as administrator or whoever. I think there's only one user in this particular file. But now I want to go company, intercompany transactions. And I should see, as long as it's, you know, the internet's working. Do you notice there's a little red dot? So that's telling me that there's something on the transactions needing my attention. And you can refresh automatically if you had both open, but here's the bill, here's the company it was received from, here's the bill it's due to, because we set that up when we related the two companies. We had to set up the companies here, but now I can put it where I expect it to be. So we were buying fasteners. Let's just see if I have a cost of goods sold account. No, let's just find something. We'll just find there. And now we can click approve or reject. So now if I click approve, it's now in my P&L. See, the transaction was approved. And if I do just a quick look, let's just do a quick P&L here. And I've got the original bill, and this is the one that's here. So the P&L for Carl's or the balance sheet is correct. Let's quickly go back. This is what you hate doing in a demo, is going in and out of these files. You cross your fingers that everything's working. So I do see, does the other company get notified that a transaction is waiting for approval? I don't think they have to launch the window. They don't get an email, to my knowledge. I didn't set up an email anywhere, but I am kind of keeping an eye on the questions for everybody. So now if I go to company, intercompany transaction. So good point here. It would be nice to get an email, but nowhere in the setup did we define that requirement. So I think that's not a feature that's currently built in, but I would say add that. And now if we go to transactions, and let's go to approved, and you now see I've got the two approved. Let's just go look at the due from, or due to, or no, due from, if I can get up there. Yeah, see, it's kind of still reading the data. That's what happens when it's going in and out of the cloud. Anyway, that's how it works, and it's not liking me right now, right? Because it's stuck here. Let's see if we can just, there we go. I don't have patience. I'm moving. There's no patience here. So let's just go reports. You know what? I'll just do to the one list account because it's going in and out of here. So there's the two transactions in the due from, because again, the advanced inventory file made the payments on behalf of the two bills. And you know, whatever the relationship is, that eventually Carl's computer shop would then write a check back or whatever agreement there is. This is how the accounting is kept. And right now you only see the opportunity for another current asset and another current liability. So I'm sure there's going to be more questions that come up about intercompany transactions. Let me just jump back into the PO piece. And let's talk about purchase order and bill work approvals. So working with construction companies as highly as I do, it's really important that they get control of the PO workflow, that they have rules set in place. And we demonstrated this last year with other transaction types. And so what's new this year in 23 is that a purchase order and a bill can now have rules set. One rule right now per PO and one rule for a bill. Right now, the rule that I've set up is that if there's ever a PO that isn't 10,000 or more, it does require the administrator to approve it. And for this to work, you do need the employee that's entering the bill has to have an Intuit account. And of course, the company who has the admin has to have an Intuit account, different Intuit accounts. So keep in mind that one slide in the very beginning about Intuit accounts is really important for many features, and this is just one of them. We also have inventory expiration dates on lot numbers. So it's really easy to manage the inventory, be a little bit more efficient for those companies that do have expirations on their product line. It is a preference that you set. So you have to first, let me just go back into QuickBooks. We'll just quickly switch files. Once I get no, we don't want to do that. So we are going to, no, not do that. We are going to open previous and we are going to go to Bob's Bikes. So in Bob's Bikes, I've got some items that require lot and also require expiration dates. So the first thing you need to know is that you are putting in the preference first. So there is a preference. Let me go ahead and I'm going to show you the preference. We're multi-user, so I can't change it, but we'll just show it to you so you can see where it is. So if I go edit, preferences, and this is again a platinum and diamond for enterprise. On I bet I can't get, can I get there? All right, let's quickly go single user. What you'll see is there's a preference for setting and turning on lot tracking. We've had that quite for a few years, I think, but now there is a setting for tracking of expiration dates. And once that's set, then it's easy to track on transactions. So if I go down to preferences and I go here into items and I go to advanced and lot. So I can activate serial or lot numbers. I'm activating the lot numbers. And over here on the right is a new section for the expiration date and some preferences for how you work with the expiration date. And only items that require an expiration date. So for example, if I'm entering a bill and I'm going to WD-40, notice WD-40, I can pick, let's quickly do a quantity, 115. And see, I have to specify a lot number. And I think I put some in. And maybe I didn't. But you have the expiration date where you could put the expiration date, you know, 21, 23, or whatever it is. And that field is only available to be, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't put that in there, but that field is only able to be added once it's been added to the product itself. So if I go to the item list really quick and I find my WD, I watch my time here, guys, because I know there's so much to cover, and I edit. And I go here, I'm able to activate the expiration date, not only as a preference globally, but on an individual product by product basis, all right? So I thought that was important. While I'm here, the very next thing I'm going to show you in the slides is that we have this new field called category. It doesn't really do any math. It doesn't subtotal. Some reports, not many, will let you display it, I can't really find much in the way of filtering on it. It's sort of there, but doesn't do a whole lot just now, but that's what's going to be on the slide. So let's go back to our slideshow. So here's the new item categorization for multiple item types. So if you have a client that's been doing a parent count and then on an item list and then a sub item and a sub item, it can go 4 levels. I just don't see a lot to do with it yet. I can't seem to filter for it. I can see it on a couple of reports, but I can't seem to subtotal amounts by it. So I think it doesn't really work the way a POS does when you have, for example, you have t-shirts, you know, small, medium, and large. I don't see it replacing that functionality. Maybe it will sometime. I'm not quite sure where they're headed with it, but I give you the information that I know at this time on multiple item types. So it's called a category. It's available on all the natural parts. So it could be service, other charge. It's just not, won't work on sales tax and groups and assemblies, those you would expect. But on all the other item types, you can then create a category. I'm just trying to find out what I'm going to do with that information. Maybe someone else has the idea and I just don't know it yet. Something else to report just for Enterprise, Platinum, and Diamond. This I can't wait to hear from a certain client. They have they're a service company, extremely large AR detail report, aging detail, any of the aging reports. And this new report performance has optimized those just so that particular type of report can be run faster, but again, only in Platinum and Diamond Enterprise. Now, I'm not going into detail here on the QuickBooks Accountant Desktop. I just include it because so many users are new to the desktop product lineup. I just want you to know that the Accountant Plus can open a 2022 file or a 2023. So if you have Accountant Plus 23 Premier, you can open a Pro or Premier 2022 or 2023. And when you open it, an Intuit Accountant copy type, you can give it back to the client to run in their 2022. But just remember that all the products are now subscription. So it almost goes away because in order to work, you need to be in the current year's product. You know what? That's a hallelujah from me because I always preferred to work with clients that kept current anyway. Here's pricing for becoming a QuickBooks ProAdvisor and the bundling of software and services that you'll receive. You can go to that website to learn more. I have always been a ProAdvisor and it's been the best investment that I've made all these years. One of the important things about the benefit of being a ProAdvisor is you do get access to the accountant toolbox. We don't have enough time to go into that in detail, but just look at the things that you can do. You can reclassify transactions. You can troubleshoot beginning balances. I met a client the other day, remotely actually, so not really physically there, but remotely I'm on her computer. I log into my accountant toolbox on her machine and they had classified a particular vendor to the wrong account over the entire year. So instead of doing a JE or instead of doing one by one, I logged in with my toolbox and I reclassified that vendor to the proper transaction. The client was wowed. That was, and for me, it's just, I'd rather not do the busy work, and perhaps you feel the same as me. Very easy to access the accountant toolbox when you're at the client site. It has been working since 2015, but you only have the tools available in the year that you're working. Me, I don't service anyone who's not on a supported version of QuickBooks Desktop, whatever years those are. Soon it will just be the current year. That will make me very happy. Let's go through just quickly the QuickBooks Desktop Mac Plus 2023 came back to life a couple years ago. They now save time by automating the bill entries. So share a link in your Mac Photos album. That means something to someone. I don't own any Apple devices. Maybe I should just to try these out, but it will populate as it looks at the information, it will help populate the bill looking at the photo. So that's a really nice feature. Attach the files to the bills and save time by importing those particular transactions. They also offer a photo sync. So stay organized by easily attaching photos of bills from the photos album. Simplify your audit trails. Automatically upload multiple documents to your company file, and accelerate bill and receipt processing from this photo album. So I'm going to take a look at the questions really quick. Murph, you can feel free if you wanted to ask me one live that was over and over that I should share with the group. I'm just looking down over what I see. Keith, I'll look into the closed caption. That would be an important thing to do. I'm going to look at the answered questions, but again, Murph, if something came in over and over and you want to just jump in, please just interrupt me, okay? I am just looking. Oh, sorry, the audio was a big one. You know what? I have a little sore throat, so I cleared my throat. I put mute on and I forgot to unmute. Has anybody ever done that? So what does the checking reimbursable do? The little check mark, Colleen, for the reimbursable, seems to me it can give me a report, but it doesn't automate anything paying the employee back that I can see. But it would allow me to print by the employee that they had that particular expense. Denise says she used a local bank, and in the past, QuickBooks didn't work. Sometimes the local banks don't work with the download. I do believe the banks do pay to be part of the download process into QuickBooks Desktop. So I think you might be limited on a small bank. So will the older yes, Murph, I'm listening.
So, Laura, this new process is using something that actually is bank developed, and
Okay.
it is anticipated that there'll be more than 24,000 banks nationwide that will be available, and they're coming on board rather rapidly. And so it's really that Intuit is coming into the banking system more so than the banking system coming into Intuit with this new methodology.
Well, Murph, I knew Murph would be smarter than me on that. I can tell you that I have Bank of America and Chase, and I'm in a client with a 2021 version. And yes, that version will last to what, 2024. I saw that question. But anyway, this client writes their own checks and sends their own checks, but they take a payment from their customers by credit card or by check. And so they have a payments account. And so every day there are those credit card fees and those check fees. And those are hard to keep up with and add manually. So when they download from the banking, I'm having them just match the checks, right? They'll match. If the download sees exactly the same check date and amount, it'll match them. But it doesn't find those small payment fees. So then all they have to do is say everything that has, I think we use the word Intuit in it, because I think that's in the description. If the description says Intuit, put those into my checkbook register and put them all to credit card fees. I mean, it's a no-brainer in the amount of time that it saves.
This new banking methodology is also going to have a lot more intelligence built into it, and it will come a lot closer to being able to provide matching on a lot of fields that in the past have not or have been really ignored. And so it'll come a lot closer to being able to match up than in the past as well.
Well, thanks, Murph. And I see a question from Kelly King. Does QuickBooks Payments allow you to pass the credit card processing fee onto the customer client when accepting the payment? Intuit's payment does not. I mean, you can charge the fee, right? You can put the fee as a line on your invoice. But if you use a service called Melio, M-E-L-I-O, I don't know if there are others, but if you send the payment request to Melio, Melio gives the paying customer the choice how to pay, and the customer paying is accepting the fee by paying by credit card. And Melio does not, well, Melio is on the bank statement, but doesn't come into QuickBooks, is my understanding. Our JAS writes, will older QuickBooks versions still work after this change to subscription? So after 2024, QuickBooks downloads, payroll, other integrated apps will not work. Automated payroll. So if you do payroll or any of those, no, it won't work. But if you don't do payroll and you just use a checkbook register, it'll work. But many of us won't service clients that don't have the newest versions because you're missing out on some things that could make it really efficient for you to work in your day-to-day operations. Yes, Kathy, 2021 will get support until 2024. The effective ending date of support is usually around April of each year, but now it's just April of 2024 because now, I don't know, Murph, do they make you, if you're on 22, you have to go to 23 by a certain date, probably sometime in 23, but I don't know what that date is.
Yeah, they've basically said that everybody on subscription is going to have to change within 18 months of the rollout date.
Okay. Keith, nice to see you in the audience. And yes, intercompany will work with accountant. I did keep saying platinum or diamond. If you look at the slide, I hope they give you the PDF of the deck, or you can email me for it. Oops, now I'm going to get a bunch of emails, but yes, the intercompany will work with that edition. And then you saw the other company got notified of the other transaction, that little that little red button. How would a client using Enterprise 2020? So 2020 is not supported, to my understanding, is not supported now at all. So I don't think you'll have any support for 2020. Is there anything else? I know we've got 2 more minutes. I wanted to, can the accountant version open a prior year Pro Premier? Yes. So Kathy, if your client is on, so let's just say you're on QuickBooks 23 and your client is on QuickBooks 22. Now we know 22 is going to stop working into some date into 23. So it's not for long, but if let's say January, you want to get right on their taxes, then yes, if your client sends you a 2022 accountant's copy and you are using the 23 accountant, and it does have plus in the name, I'm just dropping it here, but we are saying plus. You, Kathy, you may open that 2022 accountant's copy, work with the features available in 2022 and send it back to the client. They can open it up again in 2022. But everybody, this whole conundrum of how we work year to year is simply going to go away once there's no 3-year product and it's always just a 1-year product. I hate to say I'm happy about that, but I am. If you have a 2020, can it be opened in 2023? No, it's only a 1 year, 1 year backwards. And you'll learn a lot about that. I think on a slide, let me just go back really quick. Oh, we're at our time, but hang on. I'm just going to go to this one slide, Gary, if you don't mind.
You are fine.
Okay. Yeah, I could talk for hours, so you don't want to do that. That YouTube right there it gives you a really nice view of what it's like to access the client's file remotely using accountant tools, the accountant toolbox. So you may really want to look at that because that's really the time saver for you. If you're an accountant, that's really the time saver. I think, Tracy, I don't know, yours is a long one, just really quick. I have a client that's multiple accounts with maybe just, yeah, multiple accounts are a little iffy when it comes to downloading. Different banks react different ways. Some banks don't allow the sub accounts to be downloaded, just the parent. Personally, I just do a parent. Anyway, that's a discussion, probably one-on-one. Gary, do I turn it over to you now? Thanks, Murph.
No, you can keep that up if you want. I think we are good. And I'm going to put the slides in the chat one more time. Maybe that will limit your
Perfect.
number of emails that you get. And
Perfect.
yeah, and just as a reminder to everyone, you will receive a follow-up email tomorrow, and that email will have a link to this slide deck. It will have a link to our YouTube channel where this replay will be placed, and it will also have a link to that the demo from our series sponsor, Rewind. And I do have one more poll to throw up there, and it's just it's another, just in case you wanted to change your mind on hearing from Rewind, just let us know one way or the other. And well, actually, number 2 is not supposed to be on there, so sorry about that. So you can just answer either one, or actually certainly answer the Rewind poll. But Murph, you have anything in closing? I think you're still able to hop on here.
No, just remind everyone that every one of these features is written about in detail in Insightful Accountant over the last 2 weeks. So you can always look up individual features as well as our summary. And you'll find in today's headline, my favorite of this year's features. So.
Yep, and you're going to get the down and dirty with Murph's stuff. He's going to give you just how it really is. I only have time to show you what it can do, but there's lots of iffies. One last question here. Judith asks, can you use QuickBooks to administer flex accounts? Well, if a flex account is just a debit card and it's a bank that is offering the service, I don't see why not. But again, you'd have to go see which banks are offering.
Okay, great.
Well, Gary and Murph,
closing,
thank you guys. Yes, I'll turn it over to you, Gary.
Yeah, Laura, thank you so much. I know, again, as I said on the outstart, the beginning here, you've got a lot going on right now. You took some time out to share your tremendous depth of knowledge with us, and we are certainly appreciative of that. Wish you the best in your move. And she's in Florida, everybody. So those of you who are in the northern states, come January, February, you can go visit Laura and Vic.
I have one guest room, yeah, and plenty of floor space.
Well, we better call in advance then.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Well,
thank you so much. Bye, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.